Look, this bit of bony real estate can sit for a 2-hour play, but after 2.5, 3 hours, it starts to hurt. 4, that's cruel and unusual punishment. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Fred Faulkes. I've been delving into Shakespeare's history these past 25 years, and I've learned a few things that have put me at odds with my teachers, at least my teachers of old. I don't know exactly what teachers today are always teaching, but anywho, what I like to do is share with you some of the things that I've learned over the years. Now, what I'm going to reveal to you today is maybe something that's going to challenge once again your cognitive dissonance. I'm sure you've always heard that Shakespeare is a man of the playhouse, a man of the people, a poet for the people. This is a meme that runs deep with Shakespeare, but I'm going to dispute that today. When we think of the playhouse, remember that these were outdoor matters. At least these were outdoor buildings. There was overhang for those in the gallery seating, but all those in the pit or on the ground, the groundlings, they were out in the open. And nothing was heated, so it would have been quite cold, in winter especially, and you always have limited daylight hours. So what the theatre needed was 2,000 lines of poetry, 2,000 lines of dialogue to make up 2 hours of entertainment. And then if the play started at 1 o'clock, say, and the play ran until 3:30, then the people would still have that hour of daylight left to get themselves home before it turned dark. And as probably most of us will appreciate, Elizabethan London after dark was something of a dangerous matter, so you didn't want to be caught out after dark. So what we see here are kind of play lengths blocked out in terms of hours, and we see that one play comes in at under 2 hours, and then the next 7 plays come in at under 2.5 hours, but then the next 14 plays come in at between 2.5 and 3 hours, and the next 14 after that are between 3 and 4 hours, and one actually ends up being more than 4 hours, at least in one edition. Now, just to give you some sense of how long that is, when we consider Shakespeare in the movies, there is a Midsummer Night's Dream that was done in the past 20 years or so, and it comes in at just under 2 hours, so that's pretty close to what the original was. Titus Andronicus also made an excellent film, and it is the true length as written. But then when we consider, for example, Romeo and Juliet, here's, where are we? Romeo, there you are. Romeo is over 3 hours, but now the film version, at least Romeo in 1968, was just over 2 hours. But then Romeo in 2013 with, I guess, Leonardo DiCaprio, it came in at just 1 hour, 58 minutes. So you lost kind of an hour on that one. And then when we look at Richard III, Richard III comes in at almost 4 hours. The version that came out, oh, I forget now, 1996, I think it was. Quite a good film, I must say. But it comes in at 1 hour and 44 minutes. You don't even get half the play, you see. And Hamlet, well, Hamlet is just a whole other ball of wax. There's Hamlet as done in 1964. It came in at 2.5 hours. And then Hamlet in the year 2000 came in at under 2 hours. Again, you're not even getting half the play. Now, bless Sir Kenneth Branagh and his 4 hour, 2 minute production of Hamlet, which was pretty much the full script. But his was a rarity. As you can see, movies tend to very much stick to, well, 2.5 hours, okay, but that's getting to be the maximum. And when it comes to Shakespeare, around 2 hours is the best. These playhouse needs were not being met by these 3.5 hour, 4 hour productions. I can't even see how that would be commercially feasible. I mean, think the writer was paid by the script and not by the line. Think of the extra wear and tear on the players who now had to do all that extra performing, all that extra rehearsing. And think of the wear and tear on the audience. Now, I just can't see this working in the playhouse. So why? Why was this being done? Well, one reason is that a lot of these plays were performed at court. Now, I can see at court you had all your creature comforts intact, where it was warm and dry, where there was drink and food and a lot of conviviality and whatnot, live music to go with the performance. Yeah, I can see doing that 3 hour show, you know, with a nice little break in between. But even at court, I don't see these longer plays being successful. Now, Queen Elizabeth did enjoy her play, and that is well known. But also well known is that King James hated plays to begin with, and especially hated long plays. So who was this all being done for? Take the case, for example, of Hamlet. Now, from all appearances, Hamlet started as a play by Thomas Kyd, written in around 1588. It appears to have always been played at the Theatre Playhouse, which is where all Shakespearean activity starts. The play of Hamlet, as conceived by Thomas Kyd, was played all through the 1590s. Now, in 1601, Shakespeare seems to take an interest in the play, and from its, well, we surmise it started at 2,000 lines because that's kind of the kind of play that Thomas Kyd wrote. But Shakespeare's rewrite produces an extra 700 lines. Now, that's not the end of it. Shakespeare keeps working on this play, and within 2 years, it's already up to 3,400 lines. And when it's published 10 years after Shakespeare has started the rewriting, it's now over 4,000 lines. Even at court, a 4,000-line play would be a stretch, especially with King James as your audience. I just can't see it. But perhaps that wasn't the author's intention. I think that Shakespeare had something more to say with a lot of these plays, especially the longer ones, and that these were in fact plays that the author kept returning to because something more had to be said. So who was it done for? The reader. And this is something very interesting about Shakespeare, because it begins to indicate that Shakespeare has the luxury to write. And there were not many writers who had the luxury to write at their whim, at their will. Most had to work and meet the demands of whatever medium they were working in. But Shakespeare is not constrained in that way. And another way that Shakespeare is not constrained, and again it seems to point to the same thing, vocabulary. Let me just indicate to you what I mean. Most of us get by, you know, with our vocabularies of 3,000 to 4,000 words. It's more than sufficient for all our day-to-day needs. Just by way of comparison, the whole Bible was written with some 3,200 to 3,300 words, 3,300 words. James Joyce, who was a phenomenal wordsmith, he got up to 9,000 words. Now that is well beyond what any of us can conceive of, but then he made a lot of his words up. But now look at Shakespeare, way off the chart, 16,000 words, words you've never heard of. I mean, it wasn't that Shakespeare absolutely always needed these new words. No, Shakespeare was on a mission. Shakespeare wanted to expand the whole vocabulary of the English language. An amazing feat, to tell you the truth. 16,000 words. Well, I can tell you, I don't have a vocabulary of 16,000 words. And so whenever I go to see a Shakespeare play, I always have to read it ahead of time, just so I can look up all the words I don't know. And also bring extra padding for the posterior real estate in case the play is long. Anyway, not to be too long myself, thank you very much for watching. Next time, we're going to have a look at where all of this started. I think you're going to find that very eye-opening, very interesting. So I hope to see you then. Bye for now.